Hello and good Monday evening, everybody. It is February the 16th, and I'm Chris Allen, and you are watching 270 Weather. Weather for the 270 area code and beyond. Thanks for tuning in on this Monday evening after what started as a very, very foggy day. I recall mentioning last night, if you were watching this podcast, that we were more than likely going to get some dense fog this morning, and we certainly did. I mean, it was very thick. It's some of the thickest, densest fog that I've seen around here in a long, long time. And in some places, I mean, you could only see a few feet in front of you. It was that bad. We could get some again tonight. In fact, you're looking at the area right there, as you see the counties painted in there. That is, for now, a special weather statement from the National Weather Service as they're looking at the possibility of that area, which includes Bowling Green, Louisville, Bardstown, Lexington, E-Town, over to Columbia, and, just in that little box shaded area, possibility of more dense fog overnight tonight and early tomorrow morning. So don't be surprised if you get up in the morning and it looks the same as it did this morning. Now, I will tell you that as I was out very early, I don't know if you saw it, but I was out. Of course, I go to work. I get up at 3 or a little bit before 3, and then I'm on my way to work at around 4 or a little bit before 4 a.m. And I did a video of just how the thick fog was. And I said, this is the kind of fog that is dangerous. There were a number of accidents that happened this morning because of the fog. Unfortunately, there was a fatality up near the Joe Prather Parkway north of E-Town on I-65 that it appears that was caused by low visibility. And there were other accidents around this area. So again, tomorrow morning, please, I just beg and plead with you, please do not go the speed limit when there's that kind of fog. I know you think you can see in front of you, but you really can't. It is just too dangerous. That kind of fog is where you can only see a few feet in front of you. Now, the criteria for a dense fog advisory within the Louisville Weather Forecast Office area, which includes Bowling Green, much of southern Kentucky, is visibility that is less than a quarter mile. Well, this morning, it wasn't even a quarter mile. It was like maybe 50 feet, 100 feet at best. And that is just extremely dangerous. You cannot see traffic signals. You can't see vehicles in front of you. And if you're going 70 miles per hour like you normally go down the interstate, and then traffic is stopped in front of you, that's a danger that none of us want to even think about. But let me just say that it's a possibility again in the morning. You're going to have to allow yourself extra time to get to your destination. You're going to have to keep the lights on and keep them on low beam. There were several that said that they just, they saw folks around. I saw them without lights on at all. Your lights by now with modern day technology and modern day vehicles, you should have your lights on automatic. Automatic. That way you're hopefully, now some cars don't have daylight running lights or DRLs, but a lot of them do. And when you turn on automatic, your lights are going to be on when it senses that there's fog or it's dark I never have to worry about turning my lights on or off of my vehicle. They're automatically on. I have a 2019 Honda pickup truck, Ridgeline. So it's not that new. But if you have a vehicle where you have to turn the lights on and off, please just remember when it's foggy like that, turn your lights on. People need to see you, not just your tail lights. They need to see your headlights. It is just way too dangerous. And then on top of that, because temperatures were around freezing this morning, we had some places that was seeing icy spots. Yeah, because think about it, fog is just water. And when it's that cold, that misty water that's fog will just ice up, especially on a bridge, overpass, a turn lane, an exit ramp. I mean, whatever. So we've got to remember these things. I know it's not like we're used to seeing that kind of a fog, but it happens. And when it does happen, it is extremely dangerous. And as you see here, there is that possibility once again that we're going to see more fog. And this is the special weather statement put out by the National Weather Service. Areas of dense fog possible again tonight. Combination of a mostly clear sky, moist soils, in other words, the damp ground from the rain yesterday, and light winds will set the stage for another night of potentially dense fog across the region. The best chances for fog will be late tonight and early Tuesday morning. And as it says here, you look, in my audience, you shouldn't have to be reminded that you should already know this. This is such common sense, but I'm gonna say it anyway, because the Weather Service has said it, because they know there are some people that just do not pay attention. If traveling late tonight, slow down. Duh. Use low beam headlights and turn your lights on. And leave plenty of distance between yourself and other vehicles. Be prepared for rapid changes in visibility. That should be something that you already know. But it surprises me day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, that you have to tell people these things. I mean, come on. Really? Lord have mercy. So anyway, this is the area that is most likely to see more fog tonight. Will it be as thick as this morning? Maybe not, but it could be in a few areas. It's a possibility. We had some drying out that took place today when the sun finally came out, but it's not a guarantee. It's just like it said, clear sky, calm wind, cool, damp ground. It's going to be a little warmer tomorrow than it was today, even though we made it up to 63 for a high temperature today in Bowling Green, 12 degrees warmer than the normal of 51. We're going to be a bit warmer tomorrow, so that warm air. I remember showing you this last night. When the warm air goes over a cool, damp ground, no wind, clear sky, that's your perfect setup for fog. So, it's possible again tonight. All right, let's take a look at a few cameras here. Let's go up to Louisville. And you can see already, this is downtown Metro Louisville here at 6:57 p.m. Central Time. On this Monday evening, you can already see a layer of fog that is already forming there in the distance. That's what that is. Temperature at 47. The winds are from the south at 10. Let's go to Moorhead, Kentucky. See what's up that way. Don't see any fog yet. Skies are mainly clear, though, because I can see a couple of little stars flashing there on the screen, even though their lens is kind of dirty. They need to clean their lens up there. Anyway, let's go to Pikeville. Yeah, check Ryan Hall's camera. Oh, well, looky here. As you might expect, Pikeville, yes, hills and valleys, fog is already beginning to form. 53 degrees there in Pikeville. Let's go to Litchfield up in Grayson County. And not really, well, there might be some there. It looks like off in the distance, and I'm not sure exactly which direction this is looking. I always try to look for the red, white, and blue water tower. Then I can kind of tell where we're looking, but I don't see it in this shot. Anyway, does look like there's a little bit of a fog layer back there in the back with the lights shining on it. 53 degrees, winds from the northeast at 4 in Litchfield. How about we check a traffic camera? This is I-65 at the Tennessee border, live here at 6:59, just a minute before 7. And Tennessee has those live cameras that you can see the traffic with. And this was really socked in this morning. I mean, with really thick fog. You thought if you could go south, maybe toward Nashville or northern middle Tennessee, you could escape the dense fog? No, they had it there too. It's not there now, but look for it to form just about any time, and that's going to be a problem. Let's go to western Kentucky, the community of Gage, and I'm seeing stars, 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 but off in the distance on the horizon, what looks like clouds is actually a little bit of fog that's already trying to form. So even at this hour, 7 o'clock, and it's already trying to form, that's almost a guarantee that we're going to have more dense fog overnight tonight and early tomorrow morning. So please, y'all, just please don't drive too fast. Allow plenty of time for you to get from home to work and still make it on time, because you're going to get slowed down. It's going to be rough in a few places. Okay, I want to show you a couple of outlooks here. I'm going to go with rainfall outlook because we are expecting some rain as we get into the middle part of the week and end of the week especially. So here's today, here's tomorrow, some off to the north of us, and then here's Wednesday as we'll begin to see the first wave of shower activity coming through. Now, for the Bowling Green area, it's not going to be much. That very light green is hardly anything. But those of you north of us could pick up maybe 1/10 of an inch, and that's with that first little round of showers and maybe even a thunderstorm or two. But this is not going to be a real intense system. What we have going on right now is an area of low pressure and a little trough here you see to the east of us that's scooting out. But what will be coming in by Wednesday, we're going to have actually 2 cold fronts that I'll show you in a moment that's going to come through. The first one here on Wednesday is just going to come in, produce a little bit of rain. It's the one on Thursday that we're going to have to watch. Let's look at some of the other chances of rain. This is the first couple of days. Here's days 1 through 3. And it's the same thing I just showed you because I showed you days 1, 2, 3 separately. But now let's go days 1 through 5, which would take us into the beginning of the weekend. And this would take in from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And now let's go 7 days, which would take us all the way out to next Monday. And here you see a lot more rain because then this is when you're looking at days 1 through 7, you're taking it collectively. How much rain is going to be collected over that span of time, 7 days. So this is a week's worth of rain. Most of this is going to start Wednesday. There's a chance Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Well, maybe not Monday. I put one too many in there. So we're going to see at least 5 days within the next 7 that are going to get rain. It's not a lot of rain, and it's going to be spread out over several days, but this is the way it's going to add up. So over the next 7 days, we're looking at 0.8 of an inch of rain for Bowling Green. So that's not bad. Lesser amounts to the west, but higher amounts to the east. You're looking at 1.33 inches over toward the Cumberland Plateau, and specifically maybe even 1.5 inches in those purple shaded areas. So it's going to be like what we had Sunday, where we picked up anywhere from 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, up to 1 inch of rain in some cases. So it looks like, again, toward the end of the week and into the upcoming weekend, we're going to get some more rain. So I know you're hearing about a severe weather threat. Well, let's look at that. Here is day 1 today, day 2 tomorrow. Here's day 3 Wednesday. Now, is this what I showed on TV this morning? No, this is not. Let me get rid of the fronts here, because that front was right now. It's not on Wednesday. But this is the beginning of what might become a possible severe weather threat on Thursday. Wednesday, the first front comes through, as I mentioned. That's going to produce some showers. But is it going to be thunder and stormy? Well, this indicates your ordinary, what's called your general thunderstorm risk. In other words, your garden variety showers and thunderstorms. This is it. Now, if we were to see a day 4 here, then it would show the possibility of that happening, which now you can see. All right. So this is why they separate days 1 through 3, and then they go 4, 5, 6, 7. They can look even a week out. So this is day 4. This is Thursday. This is the 15% any severe risk. You say, what does that mean? There is a 15% risk of any kind of severe weather on Thursday. It could be a strong thunderstorm. It could be maybe a hail-producing storm. It could be a wind-producing storm. It could be a flood-producing storm. It could be, yes, even maybe a tornadic storm. But this is all conditional. You know, I like to use that word, conditional, and 9 times out of 10, I'm right about it. Look back. Look back. How many times have I said, this is going to be a conditional severe weather threat, and not what you're seeing hyped up on social media? Why do I say that? Because the truth is, this far out, phrase out, you cannot specifically say, like I've seen some on social media just today, say that this is potentially a severe weather outbreak, a tornado outbreak, and this could be a significant severe weather threat. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Again, just like I was saying about the fog, you guys, my audience, should know better than to fall for that. You know what it is. It's to hook you. It's to get you to watch them. Look at their stuff, click, like, share. They love the share part especially. And they get those numbers going and they get paid for it. More people they can hook, the more people that, the more money they're going to get and the more people, and then it just keeps on going and going and going. I'm, on the other hand, going to tell you the bare bones truth. And the truth is, yes, there is a small think about it, 15% chance that there could be severe weather on Thursday here in that orange circle, but it's conditional. They're not going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you it's conditional because there are so many elements still yet to be realized and details that are not yet there that we can't see whether this thing is going to happen or not. Remember, today is Monday and that is Thursday. So let's not get ahead of the game here like some of the others are. And I know some of you don't like me talking like that, but hey, I'm just putting it out there like it is. Not to say I'm any better than anybody else, but I have been doing this a lot longer than they have. And I can see the signs when it's pointing in the direction of this is something you need to pay attention to. Right now, it's one of those things I want you to keep up here, but it may not even happen. That's what conditional means. So just stay with me, stay with News 40, stay with Scott and Micah and my team, and we will keep up with this, and we will let you know if you need to pay attention, okay? So I'll just leave it at that, and we move on. All right, here we go. Let's check some current conditions. And as you can see, now it turned out to be a great day after we got rid of that stubborn fog from this morning. Right now, temperatures are, as of 7 p.m., just after 7 p.m., 47 at the National Corvette Museum and where the Corvette plant is located, north of town. And it's 50 right now at the Ag Expo Center on Western's farm out south of town. And you got 53 in Scottsville, 47 in Russellville, 52 in Franklin, 53 in T-ville, 54 in Edmonton, 51 in Hart County and Munfordville, 48 in Litchfield. You got 50 right now in Morgantown, 51 in Hartford, 53 in Greenville, Central City. You got 54 over in Madisonville. We started this morning cold. Yeah, upper 20s and low 30s. That's why I kept saying this morning, if you were watching me on News 40 Sunrise, I said, watch out. Because not only is the fog thick and dangerous, but it could be freezing, causing an icy spot somewhere. When you get temperatures that are at or just below freezing, that's a real problem. And even though you might be able to see a little bit in front of you, what if you hit an icy spot and start spinning around and all that? Yeah, that's a problem too. So there's where we started this morning, and then here's where we ended up. High temperatures, nice. Low 60s. As I mentioned, here at the airport, the official high temperature for Bowling Green today, 63. 12 degrees warmer than the normal high of 51. And our low here at the airport was 33, even though some of you were in the upper 20s and low 30s this morning. 60, 61, 63. Yeah, these are all even 62 up north of us. Now, where the fog, I know that in the metro Louisville area and right around Bullitt County, LaRue County, parts of Hardin County, that's where that bad accident happened, that fatality on I-65 this morning. The fog stayed for a long time. After it started to clear up down here, it was still around near the Metro Louisville area, and that's why your temperatures did not make it out of the 50s today. Yeah. All right. How about precipitation? None for today. Winds currently are light and variable, mostly out of the southeast, but they're going to be calm again tonight like they were last night. Let's go ahead and get to the maps, and I'm going to get to your comments and your questions and your shout outs. I'll always do that toward the end, so if you have a question or if you just want to say hi, please list the city that you're watching from or town. And if you have a question, make sure that you word it in a way that I will see that it's a question. Well, I'll try to answer it here at the end of the podcast. But let me show you how we're going to get set up for the next several days. First of all, here's our departing little system that kind of set the stage for some of the fog that we saw this morning, along with high pressure building in again tonight. And you can see that the fog, like last night, these little yellow painted in areas, this is midnight. We're going to, and I showed you just a moment ago on the cameras, the live cameras, that fog is already beginning to form. Here we go into 6 a.m. tomorrow. Now, maybe not as much down here in southern Kentucky, but there's going to be fog again in a lot of places tomorrow morning. Count on it. Here we go into the day on Tuesday, and it's going to be a bright, sunny day. The winds are going to pick up a little bit more from the south, about 10, 15, maybe up to 20 in the afternoon, which is going to help us warm into the mid-60s. We were almost there today, but I think we're definitely going to be in the mid-60s tomorrow, maybe even upper 60s in a few spots. Notice here the winds, these are the isobars, equal lines of pressure, and they're all coming out of the south and west. And notice how they get tighter back here as you head toward, say, Wichita, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Springfield, Joplin, Kansas City. That's because there is a lot of wind with this next cold front coming in. But this is us on Tuesday, tomorrow. Not a bad day at all. Here's 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. We may notice a few clouds around, but it's still going to be a nice evening tomorrow night. And then here comes the next chance of rain, coming in with a combination of a clipper system to the north and this little low and cold front coming in out of the plains. Here we go into Wednesday morning. This is when the low begins to travel north into the Great Lakes, and we just get some of that rain. We're not going to get all of it. We'll get a few showers, okay? For Wednesday, showers. I don't think there's going to be necessarily a thunderstorm risk. There could be, but not much. As I showed you, the day 3, that's Wednesday, there's not much there. General garden variety thunderstorms, and that's it. If we even get that. And you can see not all of Kentucky's going to be there, but it is going to be breezy. Look at all those tight lines, those tight isobars. Winds from the southwest, 10 to 20, maybe 25 ahead of that front. Not a whole lot changes behind the front, which would be the next 24 hours into Wednesday evening as things move off to the east. But as we get into Thursday, now we've got a different setup. Now we've got an area of low pressure out in the plains. We've got a warm front stretching out east. This is your warm sector between the warm front and the cold front. And there's even a dry line. That's what that is. The little brown little nodules there on that line, that's what we call a dry line. And that separates the really dry air from the really moist air. And that's usually where we get extra lift or enhancement of lift in the atmosphere, and during the springtime can cause severe thunderstorms. But notice where that is. And these usually happen in Texas, Oklahoma, maybe Arkansas, Louisiana. They don't happen much around here because we've got all this moisture. Now, we will begin to get showers on Thursday, into Thursday afternoon and evening, and then into Friday morning, the cold front comes through, and behind the front, it does get cooler. Now, you're saying, what about the severe weather? Well, because it's 4 days out, so to speak, we can't see the detailed every 6 hour updated map that you're looking at because it's too many days away. This is why I caution anybody to fall for those that would just get on social media and just on and on about this looks bad, this really looks bad, and it's 4, 5, 6, 7 days away. They don't know. They're just guessing, and they're hoping that they're right. But anyway, here comes the cold front. Showers, perhaps some thunderstorms. As we get into early Friday, that system will be leaving us, but look what happens. Even as the cold front comes through, we are still going to be socked in with a pretty good chance of rain. At this point on Saturday, it's just going to be rain. It's not going to be thunderstorms because then we're going to get cooler. And with each day that goes by from really Friday, Saturday, Sunday this weekend, every day drops about 10 degrees. So we end up with near record highs on Thursday with the thunderstorms. We're going about 73 to 75, but then we're going to drop another 10 degrees on Friday, another 10 degrees from that on Saturday, and maybe another 5 to 10 degrees on that on Sunday. It is going to get cooler this weekend, but it's not going to last. It's a temporary cool down. So behind this front on Saturday, cool rain that's going to happen. We go into Sunday, still rainy. But thank goodness it's not snowy. No winter weather anywhere close to us. And then here's Monday. That's when we finally dry up. But look, high pressure and a north breeze coming in. That's what's going to make us chilly this weekend. Damp and chilly. All right. Let's go to the European model and let's take a look at what it's putting out. And as we start with this evening, here we are, nice and mild and warmer as we go through the next several days. Here we are. Whoops. Let me load in. I always have to load in the previous one for some reason because it's never finished loading in the brand new model. Okay, there it goes. So here we are into Tuesday, into Wednesday. And you can see, yeah, there's your Wednesday chance of showers. But notice we're in the warm side of things. The warm air taking over the southern 2/3 of the country. And then you have the more wintry system that's back here out west. And there's our low pressure system that is going to be moving across the central part of the country and then going up into the Great Lakes. But with it will come enough energy to produce some thunderstorm activity. Now, here we go into Thursday. You can see that here in parts of Tennessee, we start to see some formulation in the middle of the day and in the afternoon on Thursday, scattered thunderstorms. Then we go into Thursday evening, more scattered thunderstorms. Some of those look like they could produce some fairly decent downpours. Some of them could be strong, yes. Here's the low as it continues to deepen right in the center of the country. Here comes the really cold air and helping some snow to develop. Out ahead of the low is strong southerly winds, all tightly packed. So I would say the main threat right now, it looks like the main threat with any thunderstorms that form this Thursday is going to be potential wind, damaging wind. If anything does turn severe, it would be a damaging wind threat. Instability, what we need, instability, in other words, daytime heating, the sun coming out, heating up the atmosphere, heating up the ground, causing more lift, more enhanced lift, and the better chance of buoyancy in the atmosphere, the up and down motion that it takes to produce strong to severe storms is going to be fairly limited. How do I know this? Because we've got storms that are already showing here forming early in the day. If it was just dry and sunny during a better half of the day on Thursday and just sun energy beating down on us, then I would say, ooh, when the storms form this evening, they're going to be strong to severe. But with some of these forming earlier in the day, I think that's going to keep us cloudy, therefore cutting down on instability. But as we also know, this time of the year, it doesn't take much in the late winter, really any time in the winter time. And as we transition from winter to spring, sometimes you don't need instability. You can just have an active jet, low-level jet is what we call it. And there may be one that just kind of slips, a little southern jet that's just, punching the upper winds and then the lower level winds through the area, which we'll have to keep an eye on. If that low-level jet becomes a little more active Thursday afternoon and evening, then yes, that's when we could get a better chance of maybe some strong to severe storms. But again, at this point, it's not a guarantee. It's conditional. Okay, so here we go. We move on from Thursday into Friday. Notice the lift to the north. That's your warm front attached to the low pressure system out in the plains. And then eventually it's going to drag a cold front right through the area, and it's going to head our way. Behind it will be colder air that is going to transition us from a couple of days feeling like it's spring again, or feeling like it's a taste of spring, but oh wait, it's only temporary because here comes cooler air and it makes us return to reality. But it's not going to get cold, it is going to get cooler. It is not going to be wintry when it cools down. It's just going to be a little cool as we head into the weekend. And here we go from Friday, early Friday into Friday afternoon and evening into Saturday. Notice how the big, thick blue line between the cold to the north and the warm to the south falls through Kentucky. This is Saturday. Now into Sunday, it is cooler, but I don't see any wintry weather. Now watch. Here we go from Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, and it retreats. That's what I was saying. This weekend, a temporary cool down, but then into next week, we're going to warm back up again. So take heart, those of you that are like, oh, I knew it. Here comes winter again, and it's gonna Be nasty. No, 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 no. No, no, it's not going to do that. I mean, all right, look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. How about mid 60s tomorrow, near 70 Wednesday, low to mid 70s Thursday before we get the chance of thunderstorms. And then we cool down. Like I said, we're going to drop 10 degrees each day after Thursday. 73, 63, might as well say 53 on Saturday. Then we kind of level out at 43 to 46 Sunday, Monday. Chilly, yes, and cold at night, dropping into the 20s. But then we go right back into the upper 40s by next Tuesday. Then mid 50s next Wednesday, then 60 by next Thursday. So see, this is only temporary. We're going to go back to some very nice, mild, warmer air into the middle of next week. It's just this weekend is really the only time that we're going to feel chilly air. Okay? And then the thing to watch out for right now is whatever happens. I'm not so concerned really about Wednesday. I'm only just a tad maybe concerned about what might happen on Thursday. There could be that chance that we could see something severe. We'll just, again, it's conditional. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. All right. Now, with all these numbers changing as they are, you know that your HVAC, your heating, cooling, ventilation system is probably already taken a beating just from the winter storm that we just had. Think about it. A lot of you took my advice and you turned your thermostat from regular heating to emergency heating so that the fan outside on your unit would not be so covered up in ice that the blades couldn't get through. Now, I've talked to R&R Controls, and they showed me how some of the blades are being made today in some of these heating cooling units. And it's like everything else, they've gotten cheaper. And the construction is awful. Sometimes it's even some kind of an acrylic or plastic. And I'm like, really? For something that's going to be outdoors in the elements continually 365 days of the year in the heat and the cold, and they make them out of cheap material? Well, R&R Controls sees this all the time. And sometimes when they're being called to come out and inspect your HVAC or a unit that's hooked up to a commercial plant or a manufacturing plant or some kind of business or even just a home, they can almost immediately, when they walk up to that unit and they look down in there and they're like, oh, geez, it's one of those. It's one of those. But you know what? With over 40 years experience, they know how to get you back up and running in no time. And they will tell you, look, we can fix this. We can make it work again. It may get you by for a couple of more years, but eventually you're going to need a new system. You're going to need something new down the road, and most people understand that. But they're not just going to come out and try to sell you a whole new system. If there's any way possible to take the system you have, and if it's doable, to repair it and make it run again, they will do it. They know how to do it. This is why they've been in business for so long, and people trust them. So why don't you trust R&R Controls? 270-777-2024. Simple number to remember. or go to their website, rnrcontrols.com or rnrhvac.com. And of course, they're on Facebook and social media, so you can catch them there too, or 270-777-2024. Because with R&R Controls, you'll never be without. On now to your comments and questions. Let's see who we've got with us tonight. Oh, we got a bunch in here. Chris, this is Chris D7244. Chris, that fog was thicker than peanut. I think he meant peanut butter, and you would be right. Yeah, it was. It was crazy. And he also says, can anyone explain why so many people were driving in that fog with no lights? I said that right at the beginning. It baffles me. It really does baffle me. I don't understand it either. Here's Jake. Is it going to rain, thunderstorms, tornado threat this Thursday? So it's going to rain. There may be thunderstorms, but tornado threat, right now we're going to keep on the really, really low side. But as I said, we're 4 days out. Anything right now is just a conditional threat. There's no sure thing, and there's no way to say right now whether it's going to be a threat or not. We have to get closer to the event before we can say that for sure. Here is Shirley. Looked like it was snowing this morning. Well, it kind of did look like that. I mean, the fog was so thick. It's just all fog is just water particles that are condensed together, and it's low to the ground. And that's what makes it, it's almost like being in a cloud. Really. Excuse me. When it gets that foggy, that thick, that dense, it's like if you were to fly through a cloud. Some of you have flown through clouds, and you see how thick it is, and the visibility is just awful. Well, that's the way it is on the ground when it's that thick. And that's why I'm just cautioning everybody, please be careful. Let's see. Here we go with Deborah. Surprised sometimes how much common sense some don't have. You don't say. Oh, yeah. You don't want to hear what I really think. I mean, I know this is my podcast. I could say what I want, and I could say things here that I can't get by with on television. But you know what I'm thinking, and I still won't say them here. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Let's see here. I'll go through a couple of more. Gary Renfro 1720. I drive a big truck. I had ice on my mirrors this morning. See, that was the other thing that I was cautioning everybody over, was that fog being water particles, and with the temperatures around freezing, yes, ice. It can happen. And apparently it did in a few places. David J. 2874, for a lot of people, 70 miles per hour on the interstate is slow. Yeah, right. They won't go much slower, but in the fog, you need to go slower. Please, I beg of you, go slower. I don't want to have to get on the newscast and talk about another fatality or people just having accidents because of the fog. Let's see. Here's Dawn up in Litchfield. Hey, Chris. All right. Hey, Dawn, thank you for watching. Here's Scott from Bowling Green. Here's Phyllis from Barron County. Connie in Cedar Flat. Thanks for watching this evening. Here's Rocky in Austin. And let's see, Sharon in Bowling Green. And here is Terry in Munfordville. Yeah. Thank you all for watching. Jake is asking, are we getting a tornado threat on Thursday? It's again conditional. I can't tell you. It would be incredible if anyone had the ability 4 days from now, today, 4 days out, to go, yes, we're going to get a tornado, and yes, it's going to happen at this time, and this is how bad it's going to be. Nobody can do that. Now, some think they can, but it's impossible. Even with today's technology, and even with all the things that we have to look ahead, we still can't do it. So you've got to understand, we don't know who will get what on Thursday. All I know is we're going to get something stormy, but whether it's going to be bad or not, that remains to be seen. I will let you know in plenty of time. The key is to prepare. Always be prepared. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your Monday evening. I'll see you in the morning on News 40 Sunrise at 6, News 40 at 9, and News 40 at noon. God bless you.